Next up, a Yorkshire derby between Leeds and Sheffield United. For Blades boss Gary Speed, it was a return to the club where he started and spent most of his career, winning a league title while he was there. Your commentator for this one is Alistair Mann.
Good header away by Collins and one for Sommer to chase. And he's fallen to the floor, free kick. I think it's fair to say Nosworthy doesn't agree with the referee. Well, there's even a little evidence that might have been just inside the corner of the area. Gradle's delivery is wasteful. Now, where's the contact? Just inside the area. Johnson brings in Gradle. Now, Sheffield United are a bit stretched here. Can Leeds punish them on the counter-attack? Gradle, decent delivery, and a lovely header and a terrific save to deny Johnson. Well, he stole in Johnson almost unnoticed, and his header was on target, and Simonson clawed it away. Quinn with the left foot, Evans with the right, or is it going to be left by both of them? It is Quinn, and it's Higgs with the save. And you'd have always fancied the goalkeeper should stop those. In towards Johnson, there was a hand up there, no question, and the flag is going, and what's been given? Is it a penalty or is it a free kick? I think it's a free kick the other way, because the assistant on the far side was flagging furiously and pointed away from the goal. And I think at first that Anthony Taylor, the referee, thought that it was a handball against Sheffield United and was going to give a penalty. Dave Bryan's flag said that it was a Leeds hand, and indeed it was from Johnson. Cleared by Collins, McCormack. Jordan's missed it. What a chance for Leeds. Snodgrass. Might go alone, Snodgrass. And he's got it across. And it's turned in for the first goal of the day by Johnson. Delatz forced him wide, but he's still got the cross in, and Johnson came in unnoticed on the far side and swept Leeds United ahead. And how vital it may be for Leeds. Britton, lovely play, lovely footwork from Britton. Free kick. Challenged by Snodgrass, he's already been booked, and he's gone. Two bookings in a matter of a few minutes, and Robert Snodgrass is sent off in the derby. What can they do here? Montgomery teased in, Ertl with a header, underside of the bar, and Higgs is there on the rebound. The closest by a long, long way that Sheffield United have come to scoring in stoppage time. And perhaps in that moment, the points are going to Leeds.
Unbeaten in 22 home league games doesn't tell the full story for Nottingham Forest, who are still waiting for their first home league win of this campaign ahead of their match with Swansea. The signing of Darren Pratley may have made a difference, but after several failed bids by Forest, he lined up for the opposition. It was direct play that led to the first goal. Dexter Blackstock brought down by Doris de Vries for a penalty. Blackstock missed one in Forest's last home game, and so spot kick duties were handed to Lewis McGugan, and he made no mistake from 12 yards to give Forest the lead. Swansea had yet to record a point on the road this season and found themselves 2 down on the hour mark. Once again, McGugan did the damage, some fancy footwork and a cheeky finish, giving the midfielder his second brace in 3 games. McGugan left the field to a standing ovation. His replacement put the seal on Forest's first home win 10 minutes after his introduction. Swansea once again caught out by the long ball. This time Radoslav Majewski profited as he scored his first league goal of the campaign. There was still time for a late Swans consolation. Cedric van der Gun the first to follow up Joe Allen's shot. It finished 3-1. Swansea remained pointless on the road as Forest finally found their form in front of goal.
Burnley had a 100% home record as they welcomed Bristol City to Turf Moor. Brian Law's side were on a high after their midweek victory in the League Cup against Bolton and former boss Owen Coyle. And they were given an ideal opportunity to take the lead when Danny Haynes bundled over Tyrone Mears midway through the first half. There are no dead certs in football, but when Graham Alexander steps up to take a penalty for Burnley, he's always scored. So a collector's item for the almost 39-year-old, a first miss in 19 spot kicks in claret and blue. The home side couldn't find a way through a recently porous City defence. 13 goals already conceded. They were grateful that Chris Eagles couldn't quite find his range. As Burnley continued to press, they almost found a breakthrough in the final minute when Wade Elliott's free header hit the bar. After 2 successive defeats, a clean sheet comes as a welcome birthday present for City manager Keith Millen, the day before he turns 44.
Reading had never lost a league game against Barnsley at the Medeski Stadium. Their last home loss to the Tykes was back in 1997 at Elm Park. Brian McDermott's team turned on the style in this one as they overcame being reduced to 10 men just after the hour mark. Zurab Kizanishvili's tugged back on Chris Wood for his second yellow card as the game looked to have swung in Barnsley's favour. But the red card served only to galvanise the home side. The breakthrough finally came from one of the Royals' star performers on the day, Jimmy Kebe, finishing off a fine Joby McAnuff cross. Ian Hart enjoys playing at the Medeski. The defender scored here on debut and scored again with this free kick in just his second home appearance. Sub Hal Robson-Kanu in his first league game of the season put a gloss on the scoreline. He raced from his own half to add a third late on. Reading back to winning ways. Barnsley must wait for that elusive first away win.
Marlon King signed for Coventry during the week after serving half his 18-month prison sentence and started on the bench against Preston. The visitors have been on a miserable run recently. They've lost their last 4 in the league and dropped to the bottom of the Championship following Portsmouth's win against Leicester. But North End took the lead thanks to Billy Jones 10 minutes before the break. Ian Hume was making a first start for Preston since moving on loan from Barnsley, and the Canada international got off to a scoring start. And what a goal it was too. Preston 2 up on the stroke of half-time. King was called into action in the second half, and it was his header that set up Aaron Gunnarsson on the hour mark. The Icelander took his chance, and it was game on. Preston had twice lost from winning positions this season, including a 3-1 lead against Burnley. This time they held on, Andy Lonergan keeping out David Bell amongst others. A second league win of the season for Darren Ferguson's team.
Well, I'm delighted to come to Coventry and get a win. They're unbeaten at home. We've really had to dig in and show real character, and we've done that. And perhaps today we've got that little bit of luck we haven't had in previous games. So, no, it's a fantastic win.
The amount of possession, territory, shots, everything was, I've never been involved in a game where we've dominated so much and not scored more than 1 goal.
There was a return to Pride Park for Crystal Palace's George Burley. Hardly a happy homecoming, though, for the one-time Derby boss. Making the first league start for the Rams was Alberto Bueno, and the Spanish striker on loan from Valladolid made the perfect impression inside a quarter of an hour. James Vaughan had a short spell on loan at Derby last season. He's at Palace this time around. Didn't last long in this match. Just 20 minutes played when the Everton loan man saw red. Derby hadn't won a league game since the first day of the season. There were 2 up here before the break. Chris Commons lethal on his left foot. Derby's first scorer, Bueno, began his career with Real Madrid. He's now in the white of Derby. His second came just after the hour. 3-0 now. Paul Green made the telling pass for that one, and the former Doncaster man got his own name on the score sheet for the first time this season in the league soon after. An errant pass by former Derby defender Claude Davis allowed Shefki Kuchi to make it 5. What a way for Derby to get back to winning ways.
So another win for QPR sees them extend their lead to 6 points. Cardiff go above Ipswich. Another impressive Watford performance lifts them to third. Portsmouth are off the bottom courtesy of that huge win against Leicester. Preston's victory against Coventry also lifts them above the Foxes. Next to League One. Without a win or even a goal since Alan Pardew left last month, Southampton were at Sheffield Wednesday. It took over an hour, but the goal finally arrived, courtesy of Lee Barnard. It ended a wretched run of 8.5 hours without scoring. But this first win for Nigel Adkins owed much to some last-ditch defending too. Marcus Tudgay and Neil Mellor both denied late on. A fourth straight loss for Wednesday. Relief at last for Southampton.
We've got the 3 points, we've got the clean sheet, we've got the goal, and there's smiles on people's faces.
Elsewhere in League One, Huddersfield lost at Swindon, while a 2-1 victory for Brighton against Oldham lifts them to the top of the table. Sheffield Wednesday drop into the bottom half of League One. Southampton's victory lifts them 5 places to 18th. Tranmere drop to the bottom. In League Two, Wycombe hosted top-of-the-table Shrewsbury. And it turned out to be a game that saved all of the action until the last half hour. And it started with this fine free kick from Wycombe defender Andy Sandell. Shrewsbury arrived having only failed to score once this term, so it was hardly surprising that they did equalise. Former Aberystwyth trainee Tom Bradshaw bringing his side back into it. There was more late drama to come, because with just 3 minutes left to play, Shrewsbury's Lionel Ainsworth unleashed a stunner. Surely a winner. But there was one more twist to come, because in stoppage time the home team did manage a response. Lewis Montrose snatching a point for the Chairboys when his shot deceived Chris Neal in the visitors' goal to bring an entertaining game to a close at 2-2. And it was a significant goal to concede because Shrewsbury lose top spot in League Two. Port Vale take their place thanks to a 2-0 win against Accrington. Macclesfield stunned Torquay with a 3-1 success and move up to 19th. Barnet drew at Morecambe, while bottom place Hereford went down at home to Southend. Our goal of the week comes from Portsmouth's Michael Brown against Leicester. A fine individual goal in a fantastic team display that gave Pompey their first championship win of the season. Next week, Neil Warnock takes high-flying Queen's Park Rangers to his former club, Crystal Palace. And Portsmouth look to build on their sensational victory when they play Middlesbrough. See you then.